Now, to begin with, the minority in Parliament is accusing the police of a cover-up in that matter that came up a few months ago where it was an issue of 500 missing excavators. Now, minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, Adams Mutawakilu, is questioning why 6 months after Environment Minister Professor Kwabena Frimpong disclosed about some 500 excavators seized from illegal mining operations had gone missing, nothing has happened to those allegedly involved. He alleges the police will never be able to get to the bottom of the issue because MPP officials are responsible for the missing excavators. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us with more. What more did Mr. Mutawakilu say, Joseph?
He goes on to make the point that they in the minority are disappointed that although this became a key national conversation, and in Mr. Wakilu's words, Professor Kwabena Frimpong confessed to the alleged missing excavators, and there were subsequent disclosures in the words of Mr. Wakilu that he was allegedly involved. Nothing in terms of action by the police has happened. He makes the point that the police have indicated over the last few months that they've been investigating without them coming out with the details of their investigation. He says, as far as he's concerned, there are leading NPP figures behind the said missing excavators. And for him, if it even goes beyond excavators, he goes on to allege that some of the gold products that were seized in some of those operations are still things that are with officials at the Environment Ministry and the security agencies and the Interministerial Committee that were involved in the mining activities, which have all not been disclosed. And he goes on to allege that a lot of those products, including the gold products and excavators and all, are things that are going back to finance the activities of the NPP as a party, which is how come the police are unable to go into the specific investigations. And he goes on to say they, as the National Democratic Congress, are promising that when they manage to form a government going into the future, they will investigate this matter, they will prosecute those involved, they will return the said excavators to the individuals who it belongs to, and ensure that things like the illegal gold products are disposed of along the lines that are required by law, so that then the state has adequate possession of them, rather than it going to party apparatchik, if you claim.
Now, Joseph, was there a response from the majority?
Not yet. We're still waiting to get that from the majority side. Is
there anything else that came up on the floor today?
So this was actually a conversation on the parlor of Parliament, not exactly on the floor itself, that we've been having with Adam Mutawakilu, who is the minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy. On the floor itself, a number of issues have come up. The House is currently approving a loan facility to the tune of about $230 million to finance various projects to help ensure that the roads across the country look good. Now, a concern has come up from the minority. The Deputy Minority Leader, James Aveji, has been pointing out that actually when the House began sitting, there were just about 16 MPs on the floor out of the 275 members of Parliament. So Mr. Aveji made the point that before the House can have a quorum to actually sit on any issue, the Constitution actually requires that there are at least 2/3 of MPs on the floor. Well, actually, it says there should be at least 1/3 of MPs on the floor before sitting begins, and there should be at least 2/3 before they can go ahead and take major decisions. So Mr. Wakilu makes the point that as at the time that the House was sitting to approve this particular loan, there were just about 16 MPs on the floor, less than 1/10 of the total number of MPs, which meant that they didn't have the adequate numbers to be able to take such a decision. And he was asking that the Speaker goes ahead to suspend the thing. But the Majority Leader, James Sabonsu, intervened and insisted that yesterday there was a conversation on that, and there was an agreement that because there's campaigning happening and a lot of MPs are in their constituencies, both sides had agreed that they won't raise issues of quorum. So he was surprised that the Deputy Minority Leader was raising this issue. And he went on to say that this is not the first time. 4 years ago, around this time when it comes to campaigning, the numbers were low, but major agreements were approved and loans were approved. Eventually, Professor Michael Quay ruled that the House had that prior agreement, and so issues of quorum cannot be raised, and the House has since continued its business with the low numbers on the floor.
Joseph, thank you very much for joining us from Parliament. Forces,